paint. If I am a double bass player, we have this gentleman right in front here in the first row, I need a double bass. If I am a trumpetist, I need a trumpet, and so on, and so on, and so on. But I need only my body if I want to express myself with dance, or I need only my body or my voice to express myself with this instrument. So I call it the naked arts. We don't need extensions. I call these things, piano is an extension of a human body. A brush or paint is an extension of a human body. Trumpet is an extension of a human body. Dance can exist without any extension. Voice can exist without any extension. And this is the beauty of those two art forms. And this is why I have chosen them as one part of this lectureship.
And what is the motivation to combine these two
Well,
forms?
it is. I think it's very obvious because these two art forms are the oldest art forms of human beings. And some claim that actually the art of dance is the absolutely oldest. That was the primary expression, artistic expression of a human being, spiritual, artistic, ritual, and so forth and so forth. And it is very obvious to combine those two forms in a sort of Gesamtkunstwerk. Yeah, we know what is a Gesamtkunstwerk. It's many art forms combined together, or two art forms combined together. So I think it is interesting to look into the possibilities of the range of expressions that a human body, just the body, can give, and the range of expressions that a voice can give. So voice is an instrument that can manifest itself from growling and grunting and heavy breathing and God knows what kind of strange sounds a human voice can produce, all the way through expressing ourselves with text, with literature, with poetry, and finally the most sublime art of the human voice is a song, is a melody. So the range is enormous. But the body can do exactly the same. The body can growl and grunt. The body can produce a language. We've seen it in the films. We can make sign language. Or we can express ourselves in an emotional way. Or we can express ourselves in a more abstracted way. So I think there are great similarities between the vocal and the physical expression of human beings.
And when you decide for a piece to work with words and voice, how do you start? Do you develop the words first, or the voice, the sound of voice, or do you write texts by yourself? Where do you get the?
It's all different. You know, you saw examples. You remember dances? This funny piece with dancers with black wigs and little group of dancers with sort of white skirts doing funny movements. This was the last poem that was ever written by Samuel Beckett, one of the great 20th century writer. And this man, who was one of the greatest jugglers of language and of expression, vocal expression, literature, poetry, he writes this poem called "What is the Word?", which I think is fascinating. Someone who found words for every human expression, every feeling. Suddenly, the last poem he writes, he says, "What's the word? Ooh, what's the word? You know, I can't remember." Actually, the voice that you heard was me. "What's the word? What's the word?" And he goes to hell. So I think it's fascinating because it makes a very definite statement. It makes a statement of a great literary giant from Ireland with French background, who actually says at the end of his life that the language is not sufficient enough We don't have enough words to portray the rainbow of human feelings, of human suffering, of love, of communication, and so forth and so forth. Words are stereotypes, where dance gives us the possibility to fill in the gaps in between. So this is the reason why I think there is a certain legitimacy to combining words or vocal sounds, growling and grunting, with movement. Many people do it, so it's a good proof, I think.
There was a moment in this last piece where we just saw where the spoken word is played by recorded sound on stage, and then you hear the words rewinded, so it makes no sense anymore. And I think this moment is of rewinding the words made clear that voice or movement without meaning can stand for themselves and has their own value. My question now is, how important is it for you to understand the meaning of spoken words, or is it even important?
Well, sometimes it is really of essential importance to understand every single word, but words can be also used as a wallpaper. You know, it's a voice, it's a human voice that comes out of the human body. So you have that, you take this on board, you understand that it's actually a sound produced by a human being, but you use it as a wallpaper and you put something else on that. But there are other examples, like, I'm sorry I speak about my work because I know it better than any other people's works. In this work, Claude Pascal, which is rather pantomime-like, I've written the text myself. I must say I was very inspired by Ionesco, Eugene Ionesco, a great Romanian playwright who was one of the co-inventors of absurd theatre, of things that make absolutely no sense. It tells you, actually, the message is, life makes no sense whatsoever. And we try to give it some kind of a form, we try to give it some kind of a line, and we try to make some kind of sense out of all this nonsense that is happening around us. So this is great Eugene Ionesco. But there, it's very important to understand the words very clearly, to understand that they actually mean nothing whatsoever. And I borrowed a little text from Dracula by Bram Stoker.
Talking about this piece, it looked like you somehow, you know, the technique Mickey Mousing, like when the music is doubling the movement, and I thought in this piece you're somehow turning it around, so you actually doubling the sound, no? Mickey
Mouse, yeah, absolutely. Yes, I like that. Yeah.
And also, I had the feeling you like not only Mickey Mousing, but really alienating words through technical possibilities also. Do you spend a lot of time in sound studios?
Oh yes, I love it actually. I think it's wonderful. But you see, there is the same kind of there are the same kind of techniques that are applied to oral experience or to a visual experience. So words can be distorted, they can be perverted, they can be changed according to our needs, how we want to use them in the piece. And a video can be manipulated just the same way. It can be destroyed. It can be made disintegrating. It can have all these kind of qualities. So, I like that you ask those questions, because you can see that there are points of reference and there are points of meeting between the physical expression and the vocal expression.
Yeah, is it like when you choreograph somehow the sound? Do you compose it in the same sense like choreographing? Like, is it similar, the process of composing voice with your experience of composing movement?
I'm not sure if I really understand your question, but that doesn't matter. I think
I formulated also complicated.
well, yes, you have to compose. Yes, I think composing is a good word, because we compose the sounds, we compose the words, and we compose the choreography. So it's actually part of a certain structure that we are trying to develop that goes actually hand in hand. I think. I try anyway.
Now I have a very difficult question for you.
Another one?
Yes. Okay, sometimes in your pieces the meaning of the word is stylistically so alienated through technical changes of the sound that it appears more like a musical pattern, I think. When does the sound of music become music? No, the sound of voice, sorry. No, okay. When does the sound of voice become music?
I think the sound of voice is music anyway. It doesn't matter what you do with it. If you would record you and analyze the melody of your voice, it would be really quite fascinating. And it's not only that of the voice that you hear, but it's a scale of tones that is. There are all kinds of overtones, undertones, aliquot tones that are part of that one sound. So it is music. Voice is music, and you know how classical actors use the singing quality of their voice. You know, all those fantastic old actors. So it is, I think, a voice can be, and maybe should be, regarded as musical expression. Yeah, maybe. I'm talking nonsense. I think there are all those specialists in music. They'll probably crucify me tomorrow, but that's okay. I'm used to being crucified.
Well, but this is also a nice occasion to get an exchange or have an exchange with the musicians. So maybe to explain a bit the experiment which you are going to do in the workshop with Michael Schumacher in April. And besides the involvement of students, there are 4 guest singers and 4 guest dancers of different styles invited, such as a Gregorian singer and a contemporary dancer, a rapper and a break dancer, a countertenor singer and a classical ballerina, and an overtone singer and a kung fu master.
How is that for a start?
Some of them are here. There is Marcel Selstra. He is the Gregorian singer. Maybe you can just... Where are you? There are you. This is Marcel. He's going to participate as the Gregorian singer. And we have Borchdim Groeneveld, who's the overtone singer. Where's Borch? There he is. So, tell me, Jiří, about the experiment you want to do with these couples.
Well, you know, this subject is so huge. You know, the themes that we thought up for this whole lectorat, they're really enormous, because the relationship between dance and voice is just simply endless. So what you have to do, you have to categorize. You have to give examples that are very strong, very powerful. But it is not. It's not. I don't do that because I say this is the perfect sort of coupling between voice and dance. But it should give you an idea what is possible, what other things are possible. So I just made 4 quite obvious categories. Do you know what is a countertenor? Do we know countertenor? Countertenor? It's a usually male voice that sings very, very high. It used to be castrato in the old days. It was a castrated man whose voice never actually reached maturity and stayed on a very, very high pitch. So it's a very kind of artificial, extremely, sublimely artificial expression of human voice. And I coupled it together with something that is physically very highly stylized and is just as extraordinary. It is a classical ballerina who is supposed to stand on point. Yeah, so you see this this incredibly high voice of a man, and this ballerina who stands on point. Crazy, absolutely crazy. But it is like that, and this is part of our history and part of this program. We have more contemporary developments. We have a rap singer. I'm not no specialist on rap singing. I will not rap for you. Don't worry. And you have breakdancing, or you have hip hop. You have all these things. It's two cultures that grew up together. They're urban cultures. They're cultures that come from people in need. They come from crime. They come from poverty. They come from criticizing society. So this is another very obvious coupling of two art forms, dance and voice together. Then we have one which is a little bit more dubious, and this is overtone singing. This gentleman is a great specialist in that. He will tell you 1,000-fold more things than I can ever do. I must say that I was fascinated particularly by the Mongolian singers from Tuva. It became quite fashionable lately. And in my fantasy, because it has a very kind of mysterious and very haunting kind of quality, I coupled it with a kung fu master. So we talk about martial arts, and I think it is art. It's not gymnastics, it's not only self-protection, it's a meditative art, high, sublime art. So I thought it would be appropriate to have this kind of meditative music coupled with a kind of self-defense kung fu meditation. These are shablons. This is not something that is maybe appropriate, but it gives you something to think about. Okay? And we have one last, which is this is also this doesn't really belong together, but I thought it was an interesting kind of combination. This is a contemporary dancer who will be reacting to Gregorian chant. We know what is Gregorian chant? Hands up. Oh, yeah, good. Well, it's one of the oldest preserved vocal musical forms. It's a highly spiritual music that was developed. Somebody helped me in the 10th, 11th centuries. I'm not sure, but I know it since I was a very, very young boy. And I think that there is a certain spirituality in contemporary dance that can be compared or can be coupled together with this kind of spirituality of the early Christian church. So, yes?
Yeah. So you're going to experiment with these different couplings.
Yes,
and see
we
what
will
happens.
basically ask the musicians to have a piece of music ready, which is about 2 minutes long, and then we will experiment with the appropriate dancer to make a short choreography with him. Now, can you imagine? You have a countertenor singer with a ballerina who stands on point, and you have a rap singer with a break dancer or hip hop dancer. You have someone who sings a Gregorian chant, and you have a contemporary dancer, and we have what was the last one?
Overtone singer and
overtone singer and a kung fu master. So we make choreography to this music, but then when it's all finished, we mix it up together. So it is just a device to tickle your fantasy and to see what is possible, to see what works and to see what does not work. Something that creates a third dimension. And this is what I'm most interested about. This is, imagine that the classical ballerina starts dancing to a rap singer. And imagine that a kung fu master will dance, I think it's a dance, will dance to a man who sings with his countertenor. And all these things will be mixed up in such a way that it will just bring another fantasy to our experiment.
And we will see what we can learn from it, or to perceive things differently.
Yes, and maybe it will be a total disaster.
Yeah.
So then you know what you don't have to worry about in the future.
Okay. Okay. So maybe you have some question. It would be great to have to have your voice. And we have our assistant Melanie. Melanie, she has the microphone. So please feel free to raise your arm and ask some things. There's always this minute of we have to bridge it.
You can ask rude questions, I don't mind. You can ask what time it is.
Oh, we have that one. That's great. We did it. We've managed to bridge.
Hello, I'm Naima. I have a question about, because songs and music is really popular, more also amongst the young people. Is this also a reason why more and more choreographers integrate songs and music and voice in the choreographies to also bring dance more to the young age or just to the public?
Well, you're talking obviously about popular culture, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is, in my opinion, it really does not have so much to do with it. Not in my world. Obviously, in popular culture, in MTV and all those television channels, it has a huge influence. But funny enough, when you saw the piece by Pina Bausch, when there was this old pop song and this man was doing this fantastic sign language to it, obviously it can add something very special to a performance if you use popular song, something that moves many people. And I think that it is interesting insofar that it includes greater public, because they're probably acquainted with that song. So it probably would help bringing new public into the audience. But if I speak for myself, I have not used many popular songs in my work.
Thank you.
There's some more. Over there.
Thank you. I just want to ask, how do you see the element of the breath as a combining or relating factor between voice, text, and the body and movement? Do you focus on the breath at any moment to find this interconnection?
You know, I wish Michael Schumacher would be here, because he would tell you stories about this, because he's a dancer. And he was trained to use his breath for his technique, for his stamina, and for all these things. But breathing, correct breathing, has to do with so many aspects of our life. It's just endless. And funny enough, I was talking to Michael about it just the other day, because he said, it's so stupid. You know, in Holland you have this genre called Kleinkunst. This is basically musical, but it's not Kleinkunst musical. This is great Kunst. This is something quite remarkable. And he was referring to how you use your breath if you have to sing and dance at the same time. And this is completely different ball game. And he said to me what a huge respect he has for these people who have done it. I mean, live, not being dubbed. You know, doing it live on stage. Phenomenal. I'm not a dancer. I was not a good dancer. In fact, I would never hire a dancer of my quality in a company. But Michael is a great dancer, and he actually explained to me a lot about breathing. So breathing of immense importance.
Thank you.
how different it is for you to work with music, like song, and with the spoken word, to choreograph? Like, what's the difference?
Well, I said something about it already before, because as I was told before, sometimes I Mickey Mouse the words, so I make pantomime that is absolutely stuck to the word and actually describes the words in a ridiculous way. That is one way. The other way is that you use the words as a counterpoint. You don't necessarily say in the choreography exactly what the words do, but it gives you some kind of a intellectual feedback, and it actually creates a third dimension, the movement that has nothing to do with the words, but the words go into your head through your ear, and the dance goes through your eyes, and inside the brain it creates a third dimension. This is another way of working, and the third way of working. I'm really. There are millions of ways of working, but for me, these are probably the three major possibilities. And the third one is that you use words or human voice as a wallpaper, and nobody understands any of it. It doesn't matter, and nobody should be irritated by not understanding what is being said. But you know that it's a wallpaper made out of human voice. And it gives a surface from which the choreography can bounce off. That's basically my way of using voice and words.
Yeah, maybe Is there another question? Okay.
Why always it's one here and the next one is there?
Hello. I had a question of a lot of times when you see dance and they use a lot of voice, you get more the feeling of there's a dance theater. When do you put it in a category dance and when with voice, and when do you put it in the category dance theater?
That's a mystery. That is really a big mystery.
Maybe shall I answer as a dance scientist?
Probably, yes.
Because what I studied, you learn that dance theater is a genre, and actually started with Pina Bausch, who combined dancing and spoken word on stage. Nowadays, you cannot really categorize it anymore. It's really the contemporary dance is really a mixture of everything, and you can't really see the pure dance theater genre anymore. So just call it contemporary dance. Everything is contemporary. So maybe that answers you.
Thank you.
Okay. There's another question. So last. Yes. So last question, just to stay in time.
I'm sorry, that was really intriguing. This, I guess, more of a topic of genre, so I don't want to stray too far, but this might incorporate voice and dance as well. But what's the difference between contemporary and commercial work? Because voice extends both categories as well. Like, when does contemporary dance become something more commercial or non-dance theater, or something more like hip-hop or rap or urban? What's that line of definition?
I don't know, to be honest, but you know, I think I don't understand this question, because contemporary and commercial, those are just
two completely different.
Yeah. But you know, if you make something, if you make a work of art with the afterthought that you want to sell it really expensive, that is commercial, I guess. Basically, yeah. But it's very strange that you talk about being, you know, commerciality to be commercial, because when I was young, you know, I was raised, guys, you probably know, you probably don't know, I was born in Czechoslovakia, and Czechoslovakia was a communist country. So even if we had money, we had nothing to buy for it. So commercialism was not a word for us. We didn't understand what it was. So everything that we did, we just did for the love of art. And whether you could sell it or not sell it, nobody gave a damn, because if you even sold it and got money for it, you couldn't buy anything else for it. So, you know, it is still sort of alien, this word of commercialism is still a little bit alien, although I'm selling my ballets all over the world, but still I never have created anything in order to sell it. I make things because I need to express myself in that way. So that's basically, yeah, that's basically what I think about commercialism, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I think we should stop these questions slowly. I would like to finish with a story. You know who is Vladimir Putin? Yes, big boy, huh? I mean, he's not so big, but... So, you know this story of the crow with the piece of cheese in her mouth? We know that, yes. So, there is Putin is standing underneath a tree. And on top of the tree there is this crow with a piece of cheese in her beak. And Putin says, "So are you going to vote for me?" Nothing. "So are you going to vote for me?" Nothing. "Well, are you going to vote for me?" He said, "Yes." So the cheese falls down and Putin takes it and eats it. And another crow comes to this other crow and says, "Why did you say yes?" And she said, "Well, if I said no, it wouldn't have made any difference, right?" Goodbye.